Hi everyone, I'm Eric.
And I'm Craig.
And we are Who's Turn Board Games. Today's video we're going to be reviewing the game Stardew Valley. This board game is based off of the video game. If you played the video game, you are not going to be that surprised about what you're going to see in the board game. It does mimic the game very well. I personally love the video game. It's one of my favorite games of all time, so that's the main reason I bought this one. It is a complete and total love it. We'll support every single thing that the creator does. Just big fan. Really enjoy it. You've never played it though, right?
I haven't really played the video game, but I have enjoyed the times we've played the board game.
Yeah, yep. And really, when you play the video game, if you ever choose to, it's a farming sim. It's very slow paced, single player. It can be multiplayer actually. Now I think about it, but I can only imagine how difficult that was to bring that video game into a board game like this, and he really did well with that. In this one, it's a 1 to 4 player game. You take the role of a farmer, go figure, and you are doing various different tasks around the city. You can go fishing, you can water your crops, you can buy and sell crops, you can go explore the mines, build buildings, buy animals, so on and so forth. It's kind of just about everything you can do in the video game. The biggest difference is that the making friends in this game is its own separate role. Usually in the game you can kind of talk to them whenever, but this particular one, it's a very key part of the entire way to win. So other than that, it's a pretty good mirror of the actual video game. So won't go too much more into what the similarities are, just kind of wanted to address that right off the bat because that's the main reason I bought this game, so I'm not going to lie about that. With this one, you play over the course of a total of 20 turns. It is a cooperative game, and what I really like about it is that you actually have varying degrees of difficulty based on how many people you have. Usually you have to have a certain number of ore, gold, whatever it is, but then you times that by the number of players. So if you have 2 players, you only need to get 2 sets of ore to turn into an objective. If you have 4 players, you have to get 4 sets of ore in order to turn in that objective. So on and so forth. It's all multiplied by the number of players. So that's a really unique part of this game, but that's really kind of how you do it. You work together, you all plan everything out together, you kind of have your little paths, you do an action, and then you can move if you want to, or you can do that action twice, but you only get 2 actions, and you get an end turn. Lots of stuff going on in this particular game. Overly not that difficult to learn though, and really, in the end, it is a rinse, let, repeat game. So that's kind of the general feel of the game, but now we'll kind of go into a little bit more of the specifics.
We'll go on to how long it will take to play this game. It is not a short game by any means, and even with 2 players, it can take an hour and a half at least. And if it's your first time playing, I would set aside a good 2.5 hours with 2 players, and probably double that for 4 because technically you get 2 turns each round. But so if there's 4 players, it's double the actions. But it's a fairly long game. But as for difficulty, I don't see it being super difficult, but you will have to work well together to get everything to go as you want it, really.
Yeah, no, and the complexity of this game, I would agree with the time commitment. It is kind of like, I'd say, a 45 minutes per player kind of ish. Mm-hmm. We've only played it with 2. I really don't see 4 players taking more than at most like 2.5, maybe 3 hours, because you are working together. You plan all your actions at the same time, so it's not like I have no idea what I'm doing. It might take forever on my turn. It's like, no, we already discussed what's going on. You know what you're doing. We've all kind of agreed with what our pattern of attack is. Mm-hmm. So 2.5, I'd say, maybe 3 would be the absolute worst as far as seasoned people. Brand spanking new, I'd say 2.5 to 3. But the complexity of this game isn't that hard for what your actions are overall. It really comes down to how you're going to do your very limited actions to win the game. So you really have to work together, as you said, on what's going on with what, as far as like, there's 4 grandpa goals that you have to complete, as well as 6 community center goals. And these are face down. You have to actually flip them up by getting hearts, which you only get by making friends. There are other ways to do it, but that's the primary way. And so as a result, you have to always be working on that. You share resources, so all money and all hearts you get are all overall together. But you see right off the bat what some of your goals are. You don't see what any of these are. So you kind of have to shoot in the dark what these are going to be. There are some that you can miss, and there are ways to flip them, but the complexity just comes from working together as a team. Because if I'm off doing my own thing, I don't really care what no one else is doing. We're not going to win. It's just as simple as that. You cannot be pissing turns down your leg. You will lose. Mm-hmm. That's the only complex part about the game, though.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, these are all flipped upside down, but from the times we played them, they seem like they kind of have a somewhat typical thing. Like certain rooms are going to require certain things. It might be slightly adjusted based on the card because there's probably 5 of each of these, and you kind of flip them up.
Yeah, there's
shuffle
3
and figure it out.
3 for vault and 3 for the boiler rooms. Vault's always money, just varies on how much money you need. Boiler room is iron or specific kinds of ores, yeah. But the rest of them are like, this is completely random. Bulletin board is a crapshoot. It could be one of several different things. Fish tank, depending on it, could be any kind of fishing. Pantry and crafts room are typically some sort of either resources, either that you grow or that you find along the way by foraging. So it's they are. You were right. They are set in stone as far as what they could be. The randomization, though, is what makes it unique. Overall, not that complex and not that big of a time commitment on this game. So don't be put off by that. It is a very easy pick up and play. A couple of times through, you'll start figuring out how to win, and then you just have to work as a well-oiled machine going forward.
Yeah, like when you're first starting to understand or learn how to play this game, it seems more daunting than it really is, in my opinion. Like when you're looking at it, you're like, how many different actions are there? I can do how many different things? But really, you're depending on how many players you're playing with, you're kind of focusing in certain areas. Like, if you're not a gardener or don't have the watering can, you're probably not going to go heavy into the gardening. You're probably going to lean in towards, exploring the mine. Seems like it's one that's almost something you want to do all the time with exploring the mine.
Well, you need the ore to upgrade a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, you need the ore to do that. You need bug meat for the other fishing, and that's the only real way to get bug meat, so...
Yeah, so those are kind of that overall for the game.
Yeah.
All right, up next is going to be the mechanics of the game and the classification overall. This is a co-op resource management worker movement. It is not a worker placement because you only have one worker and you get a very limited number of turns. With it being a very set number of actions, there is a time limit on this game as far as how long it's going to take for the game to end, one way or another. With the mechanics, there are 4 different roles that you could choose. You can actually choose which one you don't want to do from the start. And there's 4 different starting tools. Thank you. I was going to say weapons, and I'm like, that's definitely not right. Sorry. 4 different starting tools. They all play favorites on what they're going to do. So it's fishing for obviously fishing with a fishing rod. There is a foraging one, and that one I think is actually a hoe. There is a farming one with a watering can, and then there's a mine one with the pickaxe. All of them, the biggest thing for professions is that at the end of every season, this game is played over the course of 4 seasons, and at the end of every season, you automatically get 2 upgrades based on your profession. So you really have to kind of plan that out. I think we actually just discussed this, is that you have to really think about, hey, on a 2-player game, if I'm the fisher profession, I should really be trying to get maybe either the watering can or the hoe to start. Because yes, the fishing is going to be nice for everything, but I'm going to get automatic upgrades to make that my job better, because that's what I'm going to get automatically. The other part of that should really be kind of going, or vice versa. If I'm going to be the forager or the farmer, then I'm going to want to make sure that I do that. You definitely want to have some strategy there as far as what to choose.
Split it up a little bit.
But you can choose whatever you want. So even if a 4-player game, you can choose any combination that you'd like. You can stick with the fisherman gets the fishing rod, so on and so forth.
And we've won going both ways.
Yeah, yep, and we have. And it's not like a set in stone and you're guaranteed to get that. But it is definitely going to be one of those things you have to kind of watch for as far as... I don't say the complexity, but one part of the game is that you need to be paying attention to what people are for a profession and what their tools are. Yeah.
Classifications, I would probably put this also kind of like as obviously a worker placement. And you were talking about resource management, but this also has I would say inventory management, where every round you can kind of share your inventory between everyone to be able to...
Let's grab a board, yeah. So each player, like I said, gets a board. They start off with a foraging. This is the foraging profession. They get their starting tool. You get 2 different upgrades you keep, 2 different items, and then he's talking about the 6 item spots they're set in stone. I think there might be an item. I don't know. We've not played this like extensively, but
There
I think
is
there's
a
an item.
backpack,
Yeah.
I believe, that lets you hold extra.
Yeah, yep, that's what I thought. So you really have to be careful. You can exchange resources at the beginning of every round, so I'm not stuck with all the iron I collect when I'm mining. I can give it to someone else. But that is something you have to be managed. You have to be mindful every single turn, every single round.
Especially because if you don't sell it appropriately and all of a sudden you go get mine, you move, and then you have to pick up stuff and you water, and then that's 3 inventory slots. And you need all 3 of those open to be able to do all 3 of those. So
Yeah.
you need to be like going through your resources a lot, selling them, giving them away to friends. You'll be recycling through those resources like crazy.
Yeah, hands down. You have to keep that in mind when you're planning your entire turn too, which does add a layer of complexity to it once you start getting a little bit further along. The first season really kind of go, I just kind of need to get something started. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of going, I just need something out here. But really by the time fall comes around, you're not worried as much about crops unless you need money for one of the goals. You're kind of more so going, okay, how are we going to finish up all these goals? How are we going to do this? So,
yeah, and you're mentioning crops. Just like I'm guessing in the game, in the winter, there is no way to plant crops. So you have to get all your crops and everything done in the first 3 seasons.
Yeah, there's a handful you can actually plant overall. I think there's, he just added actually 1. But yeah, you can do a couple of different ones. But for the most part, you're pretty much taking care of animals and exploring and doing other stuff. So it is pretty true to the game in that aspect. So this is the player board as I showed. Also, we're going to show you this nice little thing. This is actually in the second version. From what I read, this was on the original. This holds all the items, so it's obviously going to be going by spring, summer, fall, and then all the random things you get from mines or from the actual animals. Really nice little nifty little thing. That's kind of why that's sitting out here overall, just letting you know on that, but big fan of that. Now next up we're going to talk about what kind of makes this game unique, and in case it wasn't pretty obvious, it's based off of a video game and it's a very true to its original source material, video replication so to speak. Really think that this nails that on the head, as I said right off the bat. So its uniqueness comes in the fact that it's a co-op with so many different things that can kind of happen in a very limited time to do it all.
Yeah. Some of the uniqueness I like in the game is just kind of how you go through the mine and going down the floors to try to get to the bottom. There's like a little grid that you'll go, and depending on what you roll, will select where you are in there and determines what your reward is for mining that. You'll get like 2 dice you can roll, and depending on the outcome of each dice, you can land somewhere on the board. These are the staircases which allow you to go down a floor, which will then switch these to be something completely different. And there's some that are really good, there's some that are very bad.
Yeah. Yep, there are definitely ones like this one's actually really good overall. This one is not so good. You definitely don't want to be trying to do that one because it's a lot of skulls. There are upgrades that can ignore that. There are things that you can just kind of disregard. But starting out, you see that one, you're pretty much going, well, I'm not going into mine anymore. This has been fun. Not even going to try it. The dice are not even. It is 3 sides are hearts, 2 sides are the Junimos, or the green guys, and 1 is the starfruit. So it is kind of random as far as what that goes. But depending on how you roll, you get to choose. Obviously, heart, you're screwed. But if you get a heart and a Junimo, you can choose either one of these 2 options. So that does make it very unique. Yeah, and the fact that like how it works and everything like that. The levels as far as it, and this makes sense again for the game because every 40 levels in the actual game for the original mine are the exact same. So first 40 are the same, second 40 are the same, third 40 are the same layout. Everything inside of it is randomized. So he did that very well, and it's just very, very good for that. I think another one that makes it unique is how you actually acquire the villagers. So you don't know what you're going to get for a villager. You just got to flip it up and hope that when you're trying to make their friend is that you have the item as needed. We have been burnt several times, and that really makes or breaks the game. Is how you get them. If you can get them early and then get a couple of gift cards, or a couple of season cards that are flipping over gifts, and you get a whole bunch of free stuff, that makes a big difference.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that is very, very unique on like how you do things for that.
Well, and the fact that they have like preferred gifts and regular gifts, and then things they dislike. So if you have something they really like, you can gain 2 hearts instead of a single heart. And I think if it's within their birthday month, don't they get an extra heart? So
Yeah.
you can get up to 3 hearts if it's in their perfect birthday month. I don't think we've actually managed to do that before yet.
Nope. Next, we're going to have a couple different ratings on the game itself as far as what kind of all comes into the game. The first one we're going to be talking about is luck. How much does luck play a factor in this game? Luck is a big factor in this game. You can get very, very unlucky and lose because you just didn't get what you needed. Likewise, you can get very lucky right off the bat and completely roll the game. So luck is a big factor in this game.
Oh yeah, the dice. Any game, in my opinion, that has dice is going to have a luck factor in it. I mean, obviously, you can try and negate that as much as possible by having upgrades and having the correct professions doing the correct tasks. Like if you have the fisherman with the fisher pole going fishing, chances are you're going to be a lot better than a miner going fishing because that wouldn't make sense. So, but otherwise, I agree with you. It is a lot of luck based on just because of everything that happens. You'll flip up a friend, you might not even be able to hit. You go into the mines, you might get bone and not get anything, or you might get just a bug meat and you're not really going fishing this game. And also, like, every time you go and open the G-Node, you never know what you're going to get because it can quite literally adjust no matter what. You'll roll a die, and depending on what it lands on is what you get.
Well, and the game has got a lot of variable cards. They got a lot of copies. So it's not just like they got 5 or 6 different season cards. You pick 4. Hey, congratulations. There's 20 cards for each season. That's 80 cards. And you only see 4 each game. So there's a lot of replayability. There's a lot of differences. Some are much better than others. There are some very crap season cards. Likewise for events and items. There are some very good items. There's some very bad items that you might never use in the game, but they're in the game. Somewhere, somehow, they would make sense. So just even setting up, you can pretty much see right off the bat, like how much luck are we going to need to have for the grandpa tasks, and then depending on how the game is going, you can again negate some of that luck. But it is a heavy luck game.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll never really know what kind of luck you're going to have with the next season card either, which is like the last game we played. The very first one we flipped was like a special event or holiday or something, right?
Yeah, yep. And it was every player has a friend, gets a heart. We had 0 friends because we were just starting the game, so it was awesome. It was nothing bad, but it would have been something good had we been able to do something. So it's one of those things that it just was. I would say overall, as far as luck goes in this game, I would give it like a solid 4.2.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 5, I would say it's upwards of the 4.2, like you were saying.
Yeah.
I'll just give it a straight 4 because I think it's got a lot of luck, but there's also, I'll give it a little bit less because you can kind of dictate what actions you're doing with all your players. It might be slightly less on the luck with the more players you have because you'll have that many more people to be able to do stuff.
Yep.
Whereas when you have 2 players, there's a lot less actions that you're going through. You might need less resources, but there's that many less turns that you have to get lucky on to be able to get those items.
And that's a fair point. Maybe with more people, the luck factor does go down because you have more options and more abilities to get things. Like as you could be always be making friends and always be watering crops and so on and so forth. You don't have to worry about it as much. But I would say, regardless, it is a heavy factor. 4.2.
Yes.
Next topic we're going to talk about is the player interaction as a whole. As we've stated multiple times in this particular game, it is a co-op game. So as a result, player interaction is a must. I don't think you could. I now want to try. Could we play this game being silent? I know what I'm going to do. I don't really know what you're going to do. We're not going to talk. I'm going to try giving you this item. Maybe you're going to catch on. But no. It would be impossible. You're trading items all the time. You're literally planning your entire turn around what other people are doing. Who's going first? So you're going first. Cool. You're going to go and you're going to hopefully get lucky. And then you're going to go do that. And if you fail, then I'm going to go do this. And I'm going to go do that. So my turn is catching up just in case you get unlucky.
Yes. There's, like any co-op game, you're going to be working together at all times. I think this game kind of does it a little bit better by, like, a lot of co-op games I've seen where really you're locked into, like, you have to go do certain things or you're dictating what everyone else is doing. You have, like, one person that's kind of, like,
Master Commander.
Master Commander, telling everyone what should be done. Whereas in this one, you all have your own special like abilities, so you're all kind of geared to doing certain tasks, and you know kind of what you have to do. So you kind of feel some sort of. While it's nice to have like your own individuality, it also kind of can blow in that when you kind of might, I don't want to go mining this game, but I'm the miner, so I kind of gotta go mining.
Yeah, and that could be negated by you taking it, but I definitely think that the miner is one of the ones that's going to be taken all the time.
Need to have the miner.
I wouldn't say need to have. Like, you definitely need to have either the miner or the pickaxe.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, like, now, like, I was a fisherman for the last time, and I think that that's a pretty massive role, too, because you're just getting fish left and right, which is... And it's not worth a lot of money, but a lot of people like them as gifts. We had a couple that we needed for legendary fish. Boom, I got them. I was the king. Yep, I got that. Outside of fishing, useless. I was making a lot of friends with that stinky fish. But, like, that's kind of what you said. It's very good. It's like, I can go play my role one turn, and then the next turn, I can go do other things. Mm-hmm. Or... I can go do my roll again because I'm hitting it so hard or hitting it so hot or doing so well that I can just hand off all my stuff I'm getting and keep
or
running.
You happen to miss the first time, so you have to try again because you need that item.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just that's what it is. So player interaction, this one out of 5.
5.
Yeah, hands down. You can't not.
Any co-op game, it's going to be a 5 in my book.
I mean, yeah, and I think this one has less of it because even here, I felt like I was the Master Commander last time, but you also were all like, I think we need to do this, I think we need to do that. I didn't think of that. That's a good idea. Yes, let's do that. Yep, and it can be that. It can be just it's a co-op, and you don't have to have make it or break it to win it kind of thing.
Next, we'll go into like the design of the game, the artwork, the theme. I'm not huge on the like video game, so I'm not like very versed in like knowing what everything looks like. I would imagine everything looks like what it does in the video game when it comes to like the different types of crops, the different types of geodes and ores and stuff. They'll look kind of similar, and the type of resources that they have in this are going to probably match the video game a lot. And I'm sure on the board is basically the map of the game. So if you played the game, you'll know essentially what this board and everything looks like in this game. So I would imagine it probably hits it pretty square on the head, wouldn't you say?
Yes, to some extent. I would say, because the game itself is pixel art, and it's a beautiful pixel art game. Like, one of the most, like, beautiful things you'll ever see for pixel art. Not, like, flowing flawlessly or like that, but it is a beautiful game for pixel art. This is also very beautiful and I'd actually say it's even kind of an upgrade because it's obviously very well thought out and very well done and everything like that. But it is very true to the original source material, as I've said. Mm-hmm. The theme of you're a farmer, you're helping the community out, you nail it on the head. The mining part, it never really made sense to me, but hey, whatever. Like it is what it is. It's just an extra game mechanic, and he pulled it off for this one. But yeah, the building of the community center, you inherited your grandpa's farm, so doing the grandpa tasks, that makes sense. So I would say for the design and the artwork, it's all beautiful. It's all a lot of fun. Out of 5, I'd say like a solid 4.3. It is very, very, very beautiful game.
I would have to probably agree with you. All I really know about the game to go off of it would be what I've seen you have playing it. But just looking at all the quality of everything and all the artwork, it looks really beautiful. So I would definitely give it like a 4.5.
Yeah, yep. And there's enough items on there too. It's not like it's the same thing reused all the time. Yes, these are all the same thing.
There's a ton of different fish icons, tons of different artifacts and like ores and stuff that you'll find, and they all have unique like artwork and stuff, and they all look really nice. So.
Yeah, yep. So it's very unique in that aspect. So.
Right, and we'll go into the next part, which will be the compartmentalization, which essentially is just like all the storage solutions, the quality of the resources and everything that you have. I think that is really well. You were talking about like they added these little trays, which if that is the case, that was a really good add to it because it needed something like that with how many things were in this game.
Yeah, I have to look up and see because I have no idea. I just read that in the book saying, "Oh, in this version, which is it's the second edition, I do believe because I bought it just recently instead of the first time it came out." But yeah, this particular tray I think was added. I don't know if that one was, but they did mention they called this one out specifically. So this itself was added, which was very, very awesome.
Yeah, and like the dice, they are.
Oh, grab the stuff. Yeah,
I'll show you. I'll show you the dice. They all have like the unique sides on it. They have the animals, which there's 6 different farm animals, and there's 6 different sides of the dice. Each side of the dice has its own, and the artwork and the dice are really well made. They're not like junky stickers on like a cube, which you can see in some instances in some games. It's like little stickers that if you play it a lot, the stickers will kind of come undone, which I don't like that in some of the games. But otherwise, like all the cards are a good thickness. They seem like they'll hold up pretty well in shuffling a lot. So I think everything will kind of go. You got the
Yep. So the bags you're talking about, the fishing bags, obviously the blue one. This is pretty plumb full. There's a lot of fish in the game, just like there's a lot of fish in this game. So that makes sense for that. It comes in its own little bag. This is the minerals and the artifacts that he was talking about. They're double-sided. One side's one side's the other. There's not as many in here, but it's still like it's nice that they're together but separate. Yeah, but it's like together but separate. I like the fact that they're like that. And then we're gonna take this off real quick so you guys can see. That's just beautiful. Like that to me just tickles my giblets. I love that. Are you kidding me right now? That is the best thing ever.
Everything has its space.
Yeah, literally. And yeah, I mean, these are all stacks. There's like all the different kinds are down there. All the events, items, so on and so forth are all underneath there and they're layered. I don't care about that. I just care that they all fit there together.
Yeah. And there's technically, if they ever did decide to do an expansion, there is extra space in some of there to be able to add more to it.
Yeah, yep, they could. I don't know
if they will, because then they would probably have to.
I could see what they would do for expansions, but at the same time, it's like this game is good enough as it is.
Yeah,
it would just be adding more cards, more options, more things. So I don't really see how that is. So
yeah,
what would you give it for a score out of 5 for compartmentalization?
I would say I will give it a 4. I've seen some games that I've played that have slightly better, thicker parts. Like these are
a little flimsy.
A little flimsy, yes. And like this one, I don't think I would ever take out of the box, and this one it's really nice, but it's also very large. It takes up the whole space.
Yeah. Nope. I would have to say, I think you had said this once, so I'm going to mirror your words. If there's not a reason for it to come to the board, it shouldn't be added in. This particular thing right here, this alone, comes to the board every time, and it holds everything perfect. So that right there is my dream. This is exactly what every game should try to aspire to be for this particular aspect. The rest of it's a little ugly because you do have to kind of take some of it out here and some of it out there. And it takes a lot of space on the table, so just keep that in mind as well, even with all this beautiful compartmentalization. So I would give it a 4.5 because this thing comes out every single time, and I will always be referencing it. I will always be using it. I'm sure you'll start to see that like some of this is going to be used because we use stone a lot, so it's going to be coming out of here a lot. You know, these are pretty common right away, and that's just going to be one of those things. But this coming out and being a part of the actual board is beautiful to me.
Oh yeah, I do like that they added that. That's for sure.
Yeah, yep. So hands down, that is amazing. Again, not everyone cares. Richard's kind of one of those guys. It's all like, cool. I don't really care. It's just take it out of the box. It's got to be on the board somewhere. I do. And I make the videos, so that's why the score's in there.
Ziploc box.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And with that, we'll kind of go into our overall review and our overall thoughts of the game. I really do like the game. I like how you're going to be kind of going all over the board, and as you're traveling back and forth through spaces, you're picking up extra resources, whether it be trees for wood or other random resources. I like that you're kind of all over the board. The one thing I kind of dislike, but is just a thing of all cooperative games is you're kind of limited and instructed more on what you need to do, and with having like the pickaxe and a mining, you're really restricting yourself to essentially only do those things, because if you go somewhere else you're not going to be as effective. You still can and you still do on occasion, but like if I need to, like you're going to be watering crops every game. It doesn't matter if you have the watering can, you're going to have to be watering crops. But like I just, with that being the main thing I dislike about it, I can't really hit it against it because that's in almost all cooperative games in my opinion. But I do love how everything kind of flows in this game, and for cooperative games I would have to say it's probably one of the higher ups that I really like playing over things like Pandemic and whatnot. I like this one a little bit more than those because it's just slightly different than them. I would probably give this on a scale 7.5 out of 10.
And I'm going to say some of the same things, obviously be a little different. Me, personally, this was my passion buy. This is one of the games that I had to have because I love the video games so much. That being said, it is co-op. If you've seen any of the other videos, I am not a big fan of co-op, as Craig has said as well. There's usually that master commander, and usually it ends up being me because, well, I like to win. That being said, I think that this one has a lot more fluidity as far as how that can happen. So yes, I could say, hey, this probably makes the most sense, but there could be 3 or 4 different options we could be doing because there's a lot of things you have to do. There's not necessarily one thing that has to be done each turn. There's a lot of things that have to get done, but it doesn't matter what order they get done. So it does kind of take that back a little bit. So out of co-ops, I'd say this is probably by far the best one. Even though I love the game to death, that is the biggest flaw I have for it, is the fact that it is co-op. I do enjoy it. It makes sense to me because the video game, even with multiplayer or solo player, it does do a lot more, like I said, community building and a lot of, you work together for everything, and there's very little, I'm going to do anything against you. I don't think there's actually anything besides giving gifts to piss people off. So other than that, it's very well thought out. It brings everything from the source material to life. The randomization on how stuff comes out makes sense. There's not a set stone. There are some things that definitely break the game, but you definitely need to work to get them. They're not just given to you unless you were incredibly lucky. See previous thing for luck. But other than that, I would say personally, with everything kind of taken into effect, the other bad thing I would say is the mines, just because the mines themselves, as you go down, you flip a level card, and there's just nothing but bad things for skulls, which makes sense. But you really, they can be on a lot of squares, as we've shown you. They can be on 3 or 4 squares, so it could be just to your disadvantage to have that particular card up, and then you're stuck with it. There's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. I think the mine thing itself is probably the worst part of the game, but it's essential for upgrading everything, which is kind of unfortunate. So, with my love of the game, with everything I've said, with all the praise I have for it, and how much I just love everything about the game, I can only reasonably give it an 8.1. I do enjoy the game. I will always play the game. I will always teach people the game. I will always have a good time playing this game. It is not one that I'm going to go, let's go get this to the table right now. I have to play this. It's going to be a once a year, once every 6 to 8 months kind of thing. So, and even then, it might just be more of a getting people into board games, because it is a pretty good intro to board games. Yeah, it's fairly easy, and since you can tell people what to do, they can kind of start figuring it out on their own and kind of see what more is going on. But in the end, I still think it's not going to really cap out as a favorite of mine. So.
Yeah, I could see this mostly coming to the table when you have people that want to play it or want to learn and like the game, see that you have this, and they're like, "Ooh, let's play that."
Yeah, they're kind of like me, where it's just like, I have to play that. There's not like no, like I have a friend who there's a Bloodborne board game, and his favorite game of all time is Bloodborne.
Yeah.
If I got that board game, he'd come visit me from the city, which is an hour and a half away, to play that board game. Like that is what this would be. Is that someone would be like, I want to play that. Okay, come on over, let's play it, But, yeah, 8.2, that really just can't justify going higher than that. Now, what we talk about usually is, any games that are kind of similar to this. all the generic co-op ones come to mind. You know, Desert Island I think was one. I would say the one that kind of is similar-ish, not really, but kind of, would be Haunted Betrayal at House on the Hill. I can never remember how it is, but that one you work together for a while, and then someone eventually becomes the bad guy. But you work together very, very closely, and it can really affect like negatively the game if you don't work together. So that one I think has the co-op down as well until you get betrayed. But this one doesn't have that. That's really the only thing I can think of because every other co-op game is really like it's not as well built.
I don't know if you've actually played it. I have it. I played it a few times. I think this is kind of similar to Horrified. In Horrified, you'll kind of go around to different like rooms or buildings, like in the town, collecting up resources, and then going somewhere to get rid of the resources to fend off the monsters. And you're trying to run away from the monsters as much as possible. So I with the fact that you're going around collecting resources, going somewhere else, dropping them off to complete something, that's kind of why I would say this is kind of like a Horrified type game.
You did jog by memory on one, and good luck finding it. But Arkham Horror, I would say, is pretty similar to this. It is obviously not as family friendly. Arkham Horror is a little bit more.
Cthulhu.
It's Cthulhu. It's madness. It's crazy. But there you're working very closely together, and that is even more of a co-op, like hard co-op. But there too, you're doing. Hey, I have a guy who's very good at sanity, or I'm very very good at this role. I'm gonna go be doing that thing all the time. The difference there is that you can win doing either one. Like it's a lot of luck there too. But that is pretty similar, I would say, to this, minus the theme and the design. Way different turn, but that was very similar. That's a good call out. You're Horrified. And there you have it. That's our review for Stardew Valley. That's all the thoughts wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow. We do have actually, correction, I haven't gotten done yet, but we will be having a how to play and set this one up so you can check out all the rules and what we've been talking about in this one. If that sounds kind of like something you'd interested in, this particular review kind of piqued your interest on how to play the game, definitely check that video out. It would, it is a fun game. It's a great co-op game. It's a great easy one to learn. So consider that. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Follow us on our board game journey. We do a lot of how to play and set up board games. We do reviews on board games. We give our thoughts on board games. We talk about board games. Board games. If that doesn't get you to subscribe, then you're probably on the wrong channel. That being said, if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That would really help with the channel as well. What are your thoughts on the game? What do you usually do? What is your favorite role? Everything like that. I think I really like the fisher. Like, I don't like fishing in real life, but fishing in this game was pretty fun.
Yeah. My favorite role would probably be the farmer. I really liked watering the crops and just seeing the crops flying things and loading up my inventory and just dumping them.
Yep,
getting tons of money.
That was a lot of fun, and it really works out well when you have ones that cost a lot of money. It is fun to have a farmer just to be all like, I'm going to water the crops once and take them all out of play. Oh yeah, that was fun. If you want to support the channel, click the affiliate link in the description box below and purchase anything off of Amazon from there. We do get a small commission off that, just a quick disclaimer. But anything you purchase on there does give us that commission, which will immediately help get the channel a little better, either better equipment or more board games. I would love to one day do a giveaway, but that's years down the road. Just giving you a heads up on that. If you want to support watching and getting anything through that affiliate link would definitely help us out. Other than that, I think we've sold ourselves enough on that. Yeah. So, I've been Eric.
And I'm Craig.
Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, whose turn?